Let's move on. Let's talk about what's happening across the FMCG universe. And we've got with us Amnish Agarwal, Head of Research at Prabhudas Leeladhar, Naveen Kulkarni, the CIO at Axis Securities, to analyze the FMCG earnings so far. Amnish, Naveen, hi, good morning. Good to have you both on the show. Amnish, if I could kickstart the discussion with you, barring a few, most of the FMCG companies have posted their earnings. Help us understand if there's any specific trend that you've spotted this particular quarter that's worked well.
It is very clear that the discretionary segments are coming back. For example, you look at, paints, you look at a company like Pidilite, you look at all the out-of-home categories, whether these are, you can say, in skincare or other segments. So all those segments, they have started coming back. Some of the segments, whether these were some of the hygiene-related segments like your sanitizers and all that, or some of the food products which were being used more when the consumer was sitting at home. So some of those segments, they are actually now witnessing a gradual, you can say, slowing down or coming back to the normal levels.
Sure. Naveen, one trend, if one can say, has still continued in the third quarter is also, the focus on the hygiene segment, soaps, hand washes, now sanitizers. How sustainable do you think this segment is going to be? Because the COVID-related demand is going to definitely wean off at some point in time.
See, one is the COVID-related demand might wean off, but essentially these are habit-forming situations, right? So washing hands more frequently is hygienic, right? So at the end of the day, and it's a good habit, and if people have formed that habit, I think that is likely to continue. Of course, the adaptation right now is still something which remains to be seen how widespread adaptation is across India. And I believe this kind of trend is very likely to sustain over a longer time frame because these are all something which are for the good and which are for the long term. And a greater degree of adoption is more likely over the time. And this trend or the volumes that the companies are doing, especially in this segment, I think those are sustainable. The growth rates might come down a little bit, but overall, I think sustainability seems very likely.
Sure. Amnish, when we spoke to some of the managements, one concern, of course, was the rise in raw material costs. Cautious stance there. Do you expect any further price hikes in the offing? What's your understanding of that?
Basically, the raw material price increases have been very, I would say, selective. For example, tea is one category which has seen very sharp increase in input cost. Palm oil is another. Some of the other, you can say, particularly food-related inputs, whether it is sugar, wheat, even milk prices, they have been benign. So I would say that most of the things which are in the crude-linked basket, they are showing a sharp upsurge. Plus some of the other products selectively are showing an upsurge. To that extent, some of the companies are taking the price increases. Toilet soaps have seen price increases. Some of the, for example, companies in tea have taken price increases. So the price increases have selectively happened. Rest, it depends upon what will be the trend going forward. If there is a likelihood that some of these products, for example, whether it is a palm oil or a tea, we might have already seen the peak in terms of the raw material prices, as these are not like particularly in tea, like it's not a global upsurge in prices which has happened. So to that extent, I would say that the companies might resist from taking the prices up. But if some of these trends they sustain for some time more, I don't rule out the further your calibrated price increases coming even in the coming quarters or months.
Okay. Fair enough. Naveen, now let me come to you then. Further on, then apart from raw materials, we're also seeing demand increasing now for discretionary categories as opposed to what we were seeing earlier. So do you think consumers are now loosening their purse strings, and is this again a trend that's here to stay?
So, if you look at the consumer discretionary categories, of course, there are a wide range of discretionary categories, and each category has its own set of nuances, right? So, one category cannot be clubbed with another category, but as a holistic theme, if I were to look at it, there was a huge amount of pent-up demand which was there in the system. That's point number one. Point number two, people, the impact of COVID, which was actually expected to be very high, has not been to the extent that was envisaged. So people did save money, and now I think they are starting to come back and they are spending money. So essentially, if I were to combine these two aspects, right, and of course, we in discretionary as a category is coming off a low base also. Right, it's not sitting on a very, very high base. So if I were to put these three aspects together, right, so pent-up demand might, of course, slacken a bit in the forthcoming quarters. But I think the broader trend of the demand coming back and, of course, the low base effect, all these factors will mean that the discretionary demand will sustain over the next, let's say, 12 months or so at a reasonably elevated level. So this, I think, is very much here to stay.
Given the fragmented nature of the industry, do you believe that consolidation will take place, increasing formalization as unorganized players gradually lose their market share? Amnish, that was for you. Was
Yeah,
talking about whether
okay.
or not you see consolidation in the space given the fragmented nature of the industry.
Okay. You are asking about the discretionary space or staples?
Well, for both combined.
Okay. You see, as far as if you look at the staples as a category, for most of the companies which have declared the results of the numbers, the underlying growth in the economy has not been that much to the extent all the companies are reporting the numbers. So I believe somehow, somewhere, the small scale and medium scale enterprises have been under pressure, and because of superior supply chain capabilities, because of better go-to-market initiatives, and the consumer shift towards more hygienic and the products of the companies with better manufacturing capabilities, there has already been an accelerated shift which has happened towards the organized and larger players in the last 6 months or so. Now, when it comes to a lot of discretionary segments, I think it will be very, very category specific. For example, if you look at some of the food products companies, you look at some of the, for example, your QSR chains. Okay, so in some of these segments, I think there is a very clear demarcation now that consumers are preferring more hygienic products. They want to consume more in which the risk of any infection and all is lower. So to that extent, I would say that the COVID-19 after effect will result in definitely a higher growth coming for the large and organized players in comparison to the smaller ones, and the shift towards the organized has actually become much more clear and much more accelerated, and it is going to stay like that for at least in the near to medium term.
Okay. And Amnish, wanted to get in your sense as to what the outlook is when it comes to rural. That's clearly been outpacing urban for the last couple of quarters. Do you think that we're likely to see this segment really drive the growth going forward, that companies as well with a more rural salience are likely to see better growth going forward?
You see, rural actually, if you look at last 12 months or so, the 12 months not only for say consumer but for the entire economy, rural has been a saving grace, because the last year's monsoon was good, followed by this year's monsoon, then your harvesting, everything went on smoothly, even as due to COVID-19 lockdown and all, the entire industry was impacted. So rural so far has done very well, and I see no reason for it slowing down, at least in the immediate term, because of, again, we had good monsoon, good harvesting, the crop prices were good, but I think of late there has been now some softening which is coming in the prices of some of the agricultural commodities or the products. But having said that, I think the outlook remains pretty good for the rural India. And if the overall push which the government is making for the infrastructure, if that pans out and creates jobs for, say, millions of laborers, artisans, carpenters, and people at the bottom end. So I think because a lot of these people actually come from the rural areas which are near the small towns and big towns. If that transpires, I think then we might be in for a time where the rural growth might remain ahead of urban growth for a considerable period of time.
All right, gentlemen, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. It's time for us to take a very quick break. We'll be back in just a moment.